Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined today, coming to us from the Observatory, writer, director, producer, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. How you doing today, sir?
John, you know what? I had to watch House of the Dragon, or
Again?
episode 4. Again, I had to do it. I'm in love with Emma Darcy. I'm sorry.
I think I got to go back and watch that episode again, too. Also joining us, of course, all the way from big, beautiful Burbank, Mr. Jonathan Voico. Jonathan, how you doing?
I am indeed here. Hello, everybody. I'm excited for all the news today. We had a lot.
We got a lot of stuff to cover today because most importantly, of course, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. And here's how our show is going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a lot of predetermined topics we got lined up for you guys. Then in the second part of the show is when I'm going to take your live comments and questions. If you have a live comment, question, an issue you'd like me to discuss, as long as I deem it appropriate to be discussed on the show, go ahead and fire it on into the super chats and we'll get around to answering those in the second part of the show. All right, guys. Like I said, we've got a lot of stuff to cover here today, so let's jump right into it, shall we? And we're going to start off with this. Well, I love Kenneth Branagh. I mean, you guys know this, right? I mean, I've loved him since I really started enjoying films, and I really love what he did with Thor as a director, but I also love him as an actor. And of course, Ryan Reynolds, good Canadian kid, is my favorite movie star. I don't think he's the best actor on the planet, but he's my favorite movie star. I've always loved Ryan Reynolds. And of course, he was a sponsor of our channel for several years. So thank you for that, Ryan. Well, there's a new trailer dropped today for a new movie. He, and of course, the aforementioned greatness called Mayday. Ryan Reynolds is stranded behind enemy lines in John Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein's Cold War comedy. Now, if those names, John Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein, sound familiar, these are the guys who did Game Night, which is a tragically underrated comedy. If you haven't, it's so good. If you guys haven't seen Game Night, make sure you watch Game Night. But then most importantly, well, maybe to me at any rate, they directed that great Dungeons and Dragons movie with Chris Pine. That absolutely, again, nobody went to go see. And they totally should have, because that movie is great. Anyway, so Kenneth Branagh plays an ex-KGB agent who becomes the American pilot's unlikely ally in the Apple film. So the basic gist, if you've seen the trailer, which dropped today, is it's set in the midst of the Cold War in the mid-1980s. Ryan Reynolds plays a pilot of an SR-71 Blackbird that is flying over Russia, gets shot down, and now he's stranded in Russia. And this former KGB agent, once again, played by Kenneth Branagh, finds him in the middle of the woods. But luckily for Ryan Reynolds' character, Branagh's ex-KGB agent is also a guy who actually loves America and loves their culture and all that kind of stuff. And he decides he's going to help Ryan Reynolds' character get out of the country. All right. What did I think about the trailer? There's two different thoughts I have. Thought number one is, I thought the trailer itself is actually very good. Like I watched the trailer and I'm like, this looks great. It looks funny. And I was a little bit pessimistic at first, I admit, but I thought it looks really funny. Kenneth Branagh can do action. Oh my God. Like, unless they CGI'd his face, but they trained him to do
so. He could be the next Liam Neeson.
He could be the next Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
I mean, the action stuff looked great. Some of the lines were really funny. I like movies that throw me into a situation where I'm like, how the hell do they get out of this? And they had several of those in the trailer. I love putting it in that time period. It's been a while since we've had a good Russian bad guy. Like not since Ivan Drago. Have we
really
had
early 90s?
The end. Exactly. And I thought it looked great. Until I realized,
I know what you're going to say.
This is getting dropped straight to Apple TV. And
what a
listen,
shame.
All due respect to Apple TV, because they put out some awesome television. Their television is getting close to rivaling HBO's quality level. but their original movies often suck. I remember that Tom Hanks one where he was the like World War II Navy captain,
Right.
like
Yeah.
Warwolf or Shit Sink or whatever it was
Yeah.
called.
That's what it was.
It should have been great. It wasn't very good. It just flat up wasn't very good. And as soon as I saw that this thing was being dumped, instead of being put out theatrically, was being dumped on Apple TV Plus. And listen, maybe
Greyhound,
this
the
is-
audience is saying.
What's that?
It's the Greyhound was the name. the
Greyhound.
audience
That's
is
exactly,
saying.
yes, it's exactly what it was called. Shit Sink. So maybe this is fair or completely unfair. Okay. I admit this might be completely unfair, but I don't choose this. This is just what goes off in my head. As soon as I saw it's going to Apple TV, I'm like, oh, it must suck. It must suck. Because how do you get a movie that can, on the surface, look like this? You got Kenneth Branagh, you got Ryan Reynolds. This is something that should be theatrical, especially when coming from Amazon, which has kind of in recent years been doubling down on theatrical and putting a lot of stuff out theatrically. And like, but why not this one? And I'm sorry, but the only conclusion, and maybe it's unfair, but the only conclusion I come to is the movie must not be very good. And again, I love the trailer. I think the trailer is great. I obviously love Ryan Reynolds. I love Kenneth Branagh, but I just got to be honest with you. As soon as I saw that it was being dumped straight to Apple TV, I went, there must be a reason for that. And the reason is probably that it's not all that good. And I hope I'm wrong. I totally hope I'm wrong. We'll find out. Anyway, Rob, you had a chance to see the trailer for Mayday. What did you think about the trailer?
Well, first of all, when you have planes like SR-71s and
Designed in Burbank, by the way.
Francis Gary Powers vibe, I'm just like, I'm so in. And look, like you pointed out, Kenneth Branagh and Ryan Reynolds, what an unlikely pair, but I was in. And I love Cold War stuff. I grew up in the days where the Soviet Empire was the evil empire, according to Reagan, and they were great villains. They were great foils, and they made great villains in movies. And watching them try and escape from, the KGB or whatever, I'm so in on this. Now I know, I think you're right about it's dubiously going to a streaming service, but at least it's going to the best in terms of other than HBO. At least Apple, my beloved Apple. And by the way, Star City finished up last Friday, so to get back into period Russia, I'm stoked. And I gotta say, this is right up my alley. I mean, if this came out theatrically in 1987, I would have seen it opening weekend. I really would have.
But it would have been Chevy Chase instead of Ryan
But it would
Reynolds.
have been Chevy Chase. And listen, to be fair, it's not like every movie that gets dumped straight to streaming is bad. We'll just take Ryan Reynolds, for example. The Adam Project, right? I had my doubts about the Adam Project because it was being dumped straight to streaming, and I ended up really enjoying that film a lot. We recently had the, who was in The Old Guard again? Who's the star of The Old Guard?
Charlize Theron.
Charlize Theron. That Charlize Theron movie, Old Guard, I actually ended up really liking it. The problem is, for everyone Adam Project and for everyone Old Guard, there's like 20 giant pieces of crap. And so that's why. So can it still end up being really good? It can. There is a possibility. My automatic thing in my head is like, yeah, I doubt it though, because most of them suck. So I don't know. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this trailer for Mayday? I actually think the trailer looks really good. I'm just having a hard time believing in it because it's being dumped straight to streaming. But again, there have been some that have done that I've actually really liked. Maybe this is one of those situations. Did you like the trailer? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Well, again, more Paramount Warner Brothers stuff. Yesterday, we talked about on this show that the 12 states have now officially announced they are launching their lawsuit to stop the merger between Paramount and Warner Brothers. We read the article, them listing all the reasons why. The fact that it's not just two big movie studios, it's two of the top 5 movie studios. and 2 of the top 5 cable network owners and 2 of the top 5 streamers all merging at the same time, and the problems they say that presents and all that kind of stuff. And maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong, but that's what's happening. Well, one of the things that we said was probably going to happen yesterday has happened a lot quicker than we anticipated. As those states that are launching the lawsuit, they have immediately filed an injunction to prevent Warner Brothers and Paramount from merging prior to the end of the trial. So basically what this is saying, the states have gone to the courts and said, look, we are bringing this lawsuit to try to stop the merger between Paramount and Warner Brothers. We are filing a petition right now as a part of this lawsuit that the court orders that Paramount and Warner Brothers cannot close their deal until this lawsuit is over. So that's an important thing in all this, because technically speaking, Paramount and Warner Brothers were kind of clear to close their deal sometime near the end of July into August. And so what the states have said is to the courts is we are petitioning the courts to issue a restraining order to say you cannot close this deal until this lawsuit is done. Now, this is kind of the exact same situation that that group of states that sued the two big television conglomerates over. They went to the judge and said, we want you to bar them from merging until we finish our lawsuit. And they got it. And that lawsuit was taking well over a year to do. It's still pending. Now, the reason, and we talked about this yesterday, the reason this is so key is because if the judge grants this motion, and he should give his ruling on this very quickly. I think he's already putting out a call to Paramount's lawyers to give an official response, and then the judge is going to make a determination. If the judge rules in favor of the motion that, yes, until this lawsuit is fully played out, Warner Brothers and Paramount, you're not allowed to close your merger. You have to wait until the end of the lawsuit. We talked about it yesterday, guys. This is huge because this lawsuit will go no less than a year. Like, it's possible it could be expedite and go a little bit quicker. But if you look at other lawsuits of this nature, you're probably talking minimum a year. And the reason that's such a big deal is because, as we talked about yesterday, if Paramount does not close this deal by October, a very expensive ticking clock starts going off, where Paramount is going to owe the shareholders of Warner Brothers $650 million per quarter. And we broke down the math. That worked out to about roughly around $6 to $6.5 million per day.
Yeah. Which
That's
is like,
what it breaks down to.
2.3 billion a year.
Oh, I couldn't even. Well, yeah, 2.3, 2.4, 2.5 billion a year. That's what this could end up just in having to sit around and wait. Yeah. Because Paramount made assurances to the Warner Brothers shareholders. Hey, if you accept our bid, we promise there's going to be no problems. As a matter of fact, if we don't close this deal by October, we'll pay you $6.5 million a day or $650 million a quarter.
Yeah.
So if this motion actually gets approved by the judge, that instantly puts the screws to Paramount. Now, it doesn't mean they still can't ultimately win the lawsuit. They still could. But now this thing is going to be a lot more expensive, and they're already in crippling debt. It's going to make things very, very difficult. And guys, that's why I think if the pressure gets turned up and the judge approves this injunction and forces Paramount and Warner Brothers to not close their deal until after the lawsuit is done, this goes back to what I was saying yesterday. I believe that the way this whole thing finishes out is that Paramount and the states that are suing them will sit down at a table and Paramount will say, okay, guys, what can we do to make you, the states that are suing us, feel better about this acquisition? And I think the states will say, don't include CNN, maybe don't include HBO, maybe don't include the television. I mean, I don't know. There's a whole buffet of things they could ask for. And then Paramount could say yes or say no, and they negotiate and whatever. Anyway, at the end of the day, that's what I think happens here. I think Paramount offers up some things to give up, some concessions, and then the states will go, okay, that's good enough. And then this lawsuit will end and the merger will go through and happen, with certain pieces being left out of it. If the judge does not grant the injunction, then I think it's game over. I think it's game over. I think Paramount wins. I think if the judge does not grant the injunction, because once they're allowed to go through and finish the merger, it's a lot harder to convince a court that it's in the public's best interest to try to undo it. It's not impossible, But yeah, that's how I see this playing out. I think the judge will grant the injunction because generally speaking, that's usually what happens. Mm-hmm. Then once the injunction is given, I think Paramount and those states will go into heavy negotiations, and I think it'll end with a settlement. Anyway, Rob, we talked yesterday that this was probably going to be their next move, is to file for this injunction. It's come incredibly quickly.
Yeah, it has.
Do you think they get it? Do you think this will encourage a settlement to be reached? Do you think, both sides are dug in and the states are like, hell no, it's kill this deal or nothing, and Paramount is this deal goes through or nothing? I don't know. How do you see this playing out?
To be honest, I mean, this is happening very fast. It's developing very quickly. I guess I shouldn't be surprised that that's happening. Obviously, there's a lot of money at stake. I just, though, this whole merger idea, in my own mind, is not great for the industry. At the end of the day, it might be great for the Ellison family, but I don't necessarily see it as being great for the industry. I think it's probably like Thanos inevitable that it's going to come to pass. But I really wonder what's the benefit, for all of this. And I think the states are asking themselves that question as well. But unfortunately, we live in a capitalist society, and when capitalism works and when you have people that have lots of money, they're usually able to accomplish their goals. So I do think this merger is going to go through, but like you, I think they probably will sit down with the states and they're going to have to bang something out, and they're going to be motivated to do it as soon as possible because, as you pointed out, they're going to lose a lot of money. I mean, can you imagine hemorrhaging that much cash? I wish I could hemorrhage that much cash on a daily basis.
I don't.
I wish I could have just one payment of that cash, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just going off what you said, but you covered it, so it's fine.
Oh yeah, I mean, I just think they're already precariously leveraged with this deal in the first place.
Precarious is putting it kindly.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Crippling debt,
and they need foreign investment to pull it off. Maybe there's something we don't know. Maybe there's an end game we're unaware of, but I think it's probably going to go through, but it looks like it's going to be painful. I mean, I think back to Rocky 3, Mr. Lang, what do you predict for this fight? Pain.
I do wonder where this goes with investors.
Yeah.
Because if they start to lose large foreign investment, it's done. If these guys back out.
Yeah, I mean, which I'm not expecting. I'm not expecting that'll happen. Again, I think the way, like Rob, I agree. I think ultimately this deal will go through in an amended form. Mm-hmm. I think a bunch of the pieces that they're acquiring from Warner Brothers are going to be cut out, and then they'll get the big prize. So we'll see how this plays out. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? The states are moving very, very quickly. Not only did they launch the lawsuit yesterday, they've already filed the motion to stop the merger from happening until the lawsuit is done, which could become very, very expensive for Paramount. Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Well, there's a little movie called Avengers Doomsday. coming, and it's still some 5 some odd months away, coming, of course, near the end of December, on what we affectionately refer to as Doomsday, when both Avengers Doomsday and Dune Part 3 come out in theaters on the same day. Now, some of you might remember last year, Christopher Nolan and the good folks over at the studio decided to drop their tickets for the premium theaters of the Odyssey a year in advance, in which they sold out in about 15 hot seconds. Well, it looks like Avengers Doomsday is doing the same thing, as they have announced when tickets are going to go on sale, and they're going on sale next week. Now, here's the fine print. Avengers Doomsday's tickets are going on sale early for premium format screens, and it has an epic runtime. We'll talk about the runtime in just a little while, though. For now, we're just going to focus on the tickets. It rates this: Avengers fans assemble. In major Marvel news, Disney is planning to put premium format tickets on sale for Avengers Doomsday. Now, that is not IMAX, because don't forget, Dune has all the IMAX theaters. So this is Disney trying to kind of make their own sort of wave. Anyway, for other premium format tickets for Avengers Doomsday next week, the studio plans to announce that domestic tickets for the eagerly anticipated Avengers franchise sequel will go on sale on July 20th. That's the Monday. That's next week, like this coming Monday, I think.
Right. Yeah, it is.
The Hollywood Reporter has exclusively learned. The studio will open ticket sales 5 months early for Infinity Vision theaters. You guys might remember we talked about that a few months ago. The large format designation that the studio has announced for select Doomsday theater screens. Disney created the Infinity Vision brand in the wake of Warner Brothers locking down the IMAX theaters for Dune Part 3 for 3 weeks after both films release on December 18th. All right. So there's two kind of stories here. One, the not as important one, but I want to touch on it for a second. Like, one is the tickets. We'll get to the tickets in a second. But one of the stories here is this, I'm sorry, this pathetic Infinity Vision bullshit. I'm sorry. Disney, you're pathetic. This whole thing is pathetic. Now, just so you know, Infinity Vision is not some kind of new technology. Infinity Vision is not a new kind of theater. All Infinity Vision is, and guys, jump in and correct me if I'm wrong. All Infinity Vision is Disney looked at certain theaters and said, do your theaters already have certain standards? If so, they just totally made up. We'll slap this shiny Infinity Vision sticker on your already existing theater and say, oh, well, your theater meets the strictest and highest of standards. Fuck off. It's such a bullshit marketing piece of nonsense. Like this, honestly, seriously, Disney looks absolutely tiny dick pathetic. This whole Infinity Vision thing is a joke. It's we can't have IMAX, so we'll just make up our own thing. It's stupid. It's nonsense. And look, none of that takes away from the movie. I'm not saying any of that takes anything away from the movie. But Disney, and I know some of you guys watch this, you're pathetic. This is pathetic. Anyway, that being said, let's get to the real story. The real story is tickets go on sale for Doomsday on Monday, July the 20th, at least for what I'm assuming are going to be AMC Dolby Prime theaters, other theaters, Dolby cinemas that they have. I'm assuming like 40X is probably going to be part of it. Screen X might be a part of it. You know, all your non-IMAX large format theaters, I think you're going to see tickets for those ones go on sale this much in advance. And listen, I got to find out what time this is happening at, because we got to do a ticket watch. I mean, we absolutely, we've got to do a ticket watch. As long as these tickets don't go on sale like 2:00 in the morning, in which case F ticket watch. I'm not doing that, but I think we really got to do it. And listen, I think it's a good idea. It's a good idea for a couple of reasons. Number one is you're generating a lot of buzz right now, right around when they're about to drop the Doomsday trailer. They are creating a tsunami of PR by dropping tickets and dropping the trailer and putting out some announcements. I'm not saying the trailer comes Monday. I'm just saying in the week that they're probably dropping the trailer at CinemaCon, or at Comic-Con, I should say.
Right.
So like that's huge for them. The second reason it's a really brilliant idea is that by selling out those tickets first, if you just put all the tickets on sale at once, like a month before the movie comes out, some people might go, I don't want to watch it in a regular theater. I want to watch it on Dolby Prime or whatever, right? So maybe I'll just wait. Well, I don't think people are going to wait that long. So you put these tickets on sale now, create artificial scarcity, and then later put all the rest of the tickets go on sale. And I think they probably sell better. So it's that part I think is a smart move. The Infinity Vision thing is get your thumbs out of your asses, you idiots. But this, putting the tickets on sale now for a certain segment of the theaters, I think is probably a pretty good move, and I think is going to pay off for them. Rob, we now know when the first round, and I think it's going to be a lot of them, of tickets for Avengers Doomsday are going to go on sale Monday. How do you think those ticket sales are going to go? Is it a good idea to put those on sale right now? Bad idea? What do you think?
Well, look, man, coming on the heels of, I mean, you're going to get the trailer coming at Comic-Con. I think there's going to be a fervor in the wake of Comic-Con by what they're going to show. Probably not just the trailer, but we'll get some behind the scenes shenanigans, whatever they're going to show. They're really building up the hype coming off of Comic-Con. So I think that they're going to sell a lot of tickets. I mean, let's not be, I don't know if they have like one tranche of tickets they're going to sell, they're like they did with the Odyssey, because we're pretty far out.
I think that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. So you buy a few tickets. I would imagine they're going to sell whatever they sell. And because you have to pick a theater, you have to pick an actual auditorium that you can sell tickets for. And you're asking them to plan 6 months in advance. So there's some logistical problems with that on the theater side. You've got to coordinate with how many theaters are they coordinating with, and is this a worldwide issue? That's a lot. That's a lot to put on theater owners. But I think, this is really interesting for these big tentpole properties that theaters get an infusion of cash. I mean, I don't know how it goes. I don't know what the actual split is. Do the theaters not deliver the money till people actually go?
No, they'll deliver it probably
right away
on the next reporting round. Yeah, they'll collect the money. They'll then disseminate, but they get a big infusion of cash.
Yeah, I mean, it's great for the theaters, and I think they can gauge interest, and it's kind of neat all the way around. Look, I'm not gonna lie, I'm so excited to see this movie that I love this hype. I mean, I think it's fun. I think it's great marketing. I mean, after all, it ain't show friends, it's show business, and this is business.
Mm-hmm.
And, I know that this is a corporate Disney product, but let me tell you, I love the Avengers movies. I've got Avengers hot toys all over this Robservatory, and I know that Avengers Doomsday is probably going to give me 500,000 more to choose from. I cannot wait. I mean, to get a hot toy of Cyclops, bring it on. So this movie is something that excites me. I love seeing that they're building into the hype, playing it up. And the only thing that's disappointing me about this announcement about the tickets is the running time.
Well, no, don't go into that. That's the next topic.
Oh, well, then, okay. But I dude, I'm excited, man. I'm gonna buy tickets. I'm gonna buy them.
I think we all are. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the thing though, right? Because like, for instance, I see some people in the live chat, and I'm going to bring this up. Like some people saying, oh, it's a bad idea. It's too soon. Who wants to put $100 that these tickets don't sell out within 3 hours?
Yeah. And you're leading into Comic-Con. The hype is there.
Yeah.
Honestly, is anybody on the planet going to take that bet? Is anybody on the planet going to take that bet?
Oh, look what happened with the Odyssey.
I know it's sold out so fast, and we're actually like 6 months closer to Doomsday coming out than when the Odyssey was from its release. Man, I think this is a pretty good move. It's pretty slick. They're going to sell out so fast, and then it's going to snowball the hype of that going into with the trailer dropping and all the announcements they're going to make at Comic-Con. So yeah, man, I think this is going to work this is going to work. And, and it does seem weird. Like somebody else brought up, selling tickets before a trailer even comes out. Yep.
That's bold.
But
yeah. Well, I mean, we've seen those mini trailers, but
it's weird. Yeah, there have been, you're right. There have been several they've put out some promotional material, but still, it is very weird that we're about to go tickets to go on sale before the official full trailer drops. But again, does anybody want to put money that these won't sell out within hours? Does anybody actually believe? Is there anybody out there that actually, in their heart of hearts, actually believes that these tickets are not going to crash websites and be sold out within hours? I think we all know it will. So I think it's pretty good. By the way, big shout out for the dodgeball reference. Excellent shout out for a dodgeball shout out. Scotty doesn't know. Bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off.
No, and I mean, come on, we're gonna probably get that trailer off of Comic-Con a few days later. Anyway.
Yeah, it's just gonna be day. It's not like we're gonna have to wait weeks more. It's gonna be coming days later. So anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Tickets for at least a good chunk of theaters for Avengers Doomsday will go on sale. And by the way, thank you guys in live chat for being on top of it, are going to go on sale at 8 a.m. Pacific time. That's 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday. Are you guys going to be buying your tickets right away? Do you think they'll sell out? Maybe you think they're not going to. Maybe you think this is a bad move. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this while kind of staying on the same issue. When they announced that we were going to get our tickets for Avengers Doomsday going on sale on Monday, there was another little piece of information that got put out there, a piece of information that's been the subject of a lot of debate and whatever over the past 6 months, whatever, and that is, what's the runtime of the movie going to be? We saw some reports out there, Avengers Endgame is going to be 3 hours and 20 minutes. And to which we said, no, it's not. They haven't even done the reshoots. They have no idea. This was like 4 months ago. They have no idea how long this movie's going to be. But, you know, we've seen a bunch of that stuff come up. But now, the Hollywood Reporter is saying this. The early ticket sale plan also comes with a runtime for the film. 165 minutes, or 2 hours and 45 minutes. When the film's final cut is unlikely to be locked this far in advance, selling tickets on a set schedule means the film's runtime can only change by a small margin. At 165 minutes, the film would be longer than 2018's Infinity War, which was 1 hour and 49 minutes, but shorter than 2019's Endgame at 181 minutes. So I like that they're pointing out here that number one, this might change. Like it's 2 hours and 45 minutes. It cannot change by much, but it's not, they don't have final picture lock yet. So it could be 167, 169, 163, maybe even as high as 170. Either way, at 2 hours and 45 minutes, this is still going to be a very long movie by most accounts. And you know, it's funny because we were talking on this show, Rob, I think you remember that. It was like a week or two ago. We were talking on this show about potential runtime. And one of the things I said was, look, I don't know for sure. Because I think somebody wrote in and said, don't you think this movie needs to be 4 hours long? And I said,
I do.
And I said, if you really look at it, if you actually look at the Secret Wars story, which this is going to be different. They're going to take a lot of liberties. They're going to do some things differently. Absolutely. But so if you actually look at the Secret Wars story, it probably isn't going to require a 3 hour runtime to tell that story. I mean, when you look at the main bones of that story, that's a story you can do in a standard movie runtime if you do it right and you do it effectively. Now, I still thought it would lean a little bit longer, and at 2 hours and 45 minutes, I think, Rob, this is coming in right around where I expected it to be. And honestly, I think this is probably going to be the right runtime for it. So I'm not surprised by the runtime. It's right around where I thought it was going to be, and I don't think it needs to be any longer, but you've already kind of tipped your hand a little bit. So number one, are you surprised about the runtime, and how are you feeling about it?
Well, to be honest, I'm not surprised by it because obviously uh, I thought what I experienced would have told me the movie's runtime would have been longer. However, once they announced that there was going to be Endgame encore, I was thinking to myself, they're obviously this is just speculation. I know nothing about this for real. I just speculate that there are things in the Doomsday story that could easily be moved into Endgame Encore. I mean, there's things in the Doomsday story that could easily be moved into Endgame Encore, scenes early on that could be used at the end of that movie. And then also there's an obvious post-credit scene, in my estimation, that they could easily put into Encore, which would cut down the running time. And that's probably what they did, because I was really expecting it to be a solid 3-hour film. But the indications would say that, at least what they told me. So it's a little, look, I wanted a long, if it works at 2 hours and 45 minutes, great. I trust them. I just wanted the right stuff, which is one of my favorite movies of all time, is 3 hours and 15 minutes. I wanted epicness. I wanted a 3+ hour movie. But that was just me, just because I think that would be cool. And I would be excited for it. But if it's 2:45, hey, they know what they're doing.
But you know what? I would rather, and I know you and I talk about this all the time. For me personally, I would much rather have the pace right and have it just click and have a real cadence and really have a wonderful pace and really sail and fly by, rather than what happens with me with a lot of movies, even movies I like. I come out and go, you know, it kind of dragged here and it kind of dragged there, and it could have been about 15 minutes short. I think I would rather err on the side of making sure you have good, solid, thrilling pace than just extra material for the sake of having extra material and slowing down.
Yeah, and look, to be fair, I mean, the original Doomsday story did revisit the end of Endgame, and it's like, so I get it. And I mean, I love Infinity War and Endgame so much that I mean, talk about pacing. I mean, Infinity War, which is shorter than apparently this runtime for Doomsday, that movie's great.
Yeah. And
You
it's
know,
shorter. Like you said, it's shorter than this is going to be, and it's perfect.
It's great. I mean, it's great. It's going to be interesting to see, like, John, you and I were talking, and I think that the movie does have the frog and the scorpion problem, in the sense that when the scorpion wants the frog to take it across the river, and the frog's like, I'm not going to take you across the river. You're going to sting me.
That's what we
do. And of
do.
course, no, I won't sting you. And of course, halfway through, the scorpion stings the frog, and the frog says, well, why'd you do that? I'm a scorpion.
It's in my nature.
It's in my nature. I think they've got a doom problem that's similar to that, but I don't care, because I don't care. I can't wait to see this movie.
By the way, like one of our viewers writing, but some scenes need to sit and not rush to the next. It's a 2 hour and 45 minute movie. Like, it's not an hour and 28 minutes. This
isn't Barry Lyndon also.
Yeah.
We're not absorbing a scene.
How do you know it's not Barry Lyndon? Come on, man.
It's 2 hours and 45 minutes. I have never seen a 2 hour and 45 minute movie that was rushed. That's just me. But yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. But look, again, sometimes 3 hours is the right runtime. Sometimes 2 hours and 30 minutes is the right time. By the way, somebody else pointed out in the live chat, and I'm sorry that I've missed it, but they made a really good point. This movie, 2 hours and 45 minutes. Secret Wars, that's a horse of a different color.
Yeah.
Like I'll be honest with you. I will be very surprised if Secret Wars comes in under 3. I'm not saying it needs to be over 3, but I'm saying I will be very surprised if Secret Wars clocks in under 3.
It's going to be the Return of the King of Avengers movies.
Yeah.
It's going to be 4 hours long.
I don't think we're going for 4 hours, but it's going to be more of a lengthy one. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you guys think about this? Not only do we have the tickets going on sale, but now we have a pretty good rough estimate about how long the movie's going to be. It's going to be right around the 2 hour and 45 minute range. Again, it's going to fluctuate a little bit between now and final lock, but as the article pointed out, not by much. So maybe, 167, 168, 163, something like that. But it's going to be right around that 2 hour and 45 minute mark. How do you guys feel about that? Whatever you think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, with that down, we've still got a few great things to talk about, including Tony Gilroy, the creator of Andor, the greatest thing Star Wars has ever had made since the original trilogy. Well, him and Pedro Pascal have got a new movie coming out called Behemoth, and they dropped the trailer for that. We're going to talk about that in a minute. The showrunner from Loki, Michael Waldron, is now actually working on and developing a Nova movie for Marvel. And there are rumors and reports going around really close to Comic-Con that Adam Driver is going to be Magneto in the new X-Men. We're going to talk about that things and a few things more. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second and thank one of the sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show, our friends at Mars Men. Guys, we want to take a second and thank a sponsor of today's video, Mars Men. One of the things that catches a lot of us guys off guard as we get older is that staying in shape isn't quite as straightforward as it used to be. You can be putting in the same effort at the gym and watching what you eat, but your body just doesn't seem to respond the way that it did a few years ago. A big reason for that is that testosterone levels naturally decline as men age. And that's where today's sponsor, Mars Men, comes in. Mars Men is a natural supplement designed to support healthy testosterone levels with top-notch ingredients. It's made in the USA, third-party tested, contains no synthetic hormones or weird stimulants, and is designed to support healthy testosterone levels, weight management, exercise performance, and overall energy. They also back it up with a 90-day money-back guarantee, which is key. And according to the company, over 91% of users reported higher energy levels. For a limited time, our listeners can get 50% off for life, plus free shipping and 3 free gifts at mengotomars.com. That's mengotomars.com for 50% off and 3 free gifts when you check out. And it's also available on Amazon. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them our show sent you. And thank you to our friends at Mars Men for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? We talked about the Mayday trailer that dropped a little bit earlier today, but that is not the only trailer that dropped today. A little film that I totally forgot about. I think I heard about it once a few months ago, and I just never thought about it since. But a new movie coming out called Behemoth, with an exclamation point in it, being done by Tony Gilroy, the guy who did Andor. Yes, the best drama series nominated Emmy television show, Star Wars series, which I contend as a lifelong Star Wars fan is the single greatest thing Star Wars has ever made since the original trilogy. Anyway, he and Pedro Pascal are making this movie, and they dropped the first trailer for it, Behemoth. Now, the things that jumped out to me the most about the trailer was really the cast. Because not only do you have Pedro Pascal, who's obviously very hot right now, you've got Will Arnett, who I love Will Arnett. I just love Will Arnett. And Hank Azaria, who I don't think is in enough stuff these days. Mm-hmm. He was, of course, the Blue Raja in Mystery Men, the most underrated comic book film of all time. Sorry, Superman. But it's got Olivia Wilde, who I just watched in my new favorite movie of the year in The Invite. So it's got a terrific cast. But it's one of these trailers where I can't tell what this movie's about. And you know what? That's fine. That's fine. And the reason it's fine is because it's the first trailer. I'm always okay with that with the first trailer, because first trailers today are really just meant to be, number one, kind of announcements, and number two, just give you a taste of the tone. Just give you a little bit of a taste of the tone and kind of set the chessboard up, but not really let you know what the game is yet. And I certainly got to the end of this trailer going, having no idea what it's about. And the synopsis, guys, doesn't give us much more help. The synopsis is just telling us that Pedro Pascal is a cellist. He's been absorbed with music his whole life, and he just comes back to LA after being gone for 20 years. That's all it tells us. And I don't know if there's something like Will Arnett has a line near the end about that maybe there's some kind of a supernatural angle to it. Because he says something like there's a cosmic level of irony involved right now, and it's about you. And it's a really cool line that Arnett gives, but it doesn't really give a lot of insight into what's going on. So anyway, for a first trailer, it was intriguing. It got my attention, but I'm going to be honest with you. All you had to do was put in the first title card from director Tony Gilroy.
Yeah.
And I'm on board. I'm in. So anyway, Rob, you saw this trailer. I don't think you knew as much more about this project than I did either. So this was your first impression with it. What did you think about the trailer to Behemoth?
First of all, I'm such a Michael Clayton fan, obviously, and Tony Gilroy.
So
I love that movie so much. And I thought this looked terrific. You know, I just kept waiting for Cate Blanchett as Lydia Tarr to show up. And then it would have been over the top for me. But no, I thought this looked fantastic. And, you know, you joke, okay, Pedro Pascal's in yet another movie. He looks like he's great in this movie. And Will Arnett, like you pointed out, when he shows up at the end and has his little comment that I'm like, what is the title about? What is this movie about? I don't know. I like the idea. There's something about the world of classical musicians I'm really enjoying, because Tar is one of my favorite movies of the last 25 years. I wasn't joking. I mean, I really wish you would show up in that movie, and somebody should make a sequel. Nobody ever will. But I thought this looked great, you know, and look, Tony Gilroy is a world-class writer.
Oh, 100%.
And I think that, you know, him going back behind the director's chair, writing and directing, means that we're going to get something special, because he's the kind of person who has something to say that I want to hear. So I'm really excited for this.
Again,
by the way, it had a really cool title design.
Yes.
In the trailer that was very unique, which I thought was very, very cool. So kudos to the trailer company.
As it came from large and started to form Behemoth.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
The cuts like cut around it. That was really cool.
It's a really good technique. Hey, Jonathan, you saw this trailer this morning. Like this seems like a movie that I would think would be right up your kind of alley, even though I have no idea what this movie is really going to be. What did you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, we don't know really, like there's some kind of mystery, or is this just like about familial trauma? Like what are the depths of this film? Like, I don't quite, what's the Behemoth? Is it the weight of all the responsibility that's crashing down on him? Like what is it? I'm intrigued, but I will say, you know, now I kind of put like Tony Gilroy in that David Fincher category, where I don't care, because I think it's the pacing of this movie is going to be great. I think the intrigue and the dialogue is going to be engaging. So, I mean, I want to see one more trailer, but I don't even know if it matters, because I'm going to go see it. It looks like it's beautifully shot.
I am expecting some kind that will be in the marketing at some point. I'm expecting some kind of curveball.
Seems like it.
Like, is Pedro Pascal actually in a coma and he's flashing back on his life? Is Will Arnett actually his sister? I'm just expecting some kind of curveball to come out of nowhere and hit us on this. Anyway, guys, question is for you. Did you have a chance to see this new trailer for Behemoth from Tony Gilroy? Again, I think the cast is amazing. Olivia, why am I Wilde? Olivia, I almost said Olivia Dunn. Olivia Wilde, Hank Azaria, Will Arnett, and of course starring Pedro Pascal. Whatever you guys thought about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, Marvel, it's not an exaggeration to say, literally have thousands of characters at their disposal that they can go ahead and try to develop some things around. One of the names that has been floated out there for a long time is Nova. And a lot of people, we thought a few years ago, we thought we were getting a Nova project. That never really materialized. Then we found out last year that I think the writer The girl who wrote on the Moon Knight series was developing a Nova series, is what all the reports were. Well, yesterday, news came out, and this comes to us from Deadline. Then Michael Waldron, who wrote Doctor Strange, The Multiverse of Madness, was a showrunner on the Loki series, that he is actually penning a script for a Nova film. And if the movie goes ahead and happens, they're looking at him to direct it as well. Deadline writes this. After rumors started to spread of a potential Nova project from filmmaker Michael Waldron last week, sources now tell Deadline that the Chad Powers creator is developing a feature film around the comic at Marvel Studios. So not a series, but an actual feature film. Insiders stress that the project is still in early development, but that Waldron is on board to pen the script with an eye to directing the project if it moves forward. Now, look, I think it's actually really important here to point out, because I've already seen some people online saying it's official, a Nova movie is coming. No, it's not. At least it's not official. Like even the report at Deadline is saying, yeah, they're trying to put something together. And if it gets made, they're looking at possibly Waldron to direct it. So listen, guys, you got to remember, for every one movie that goes into some kind of development, like 3 of them don't get made. So like, maybe this happens, maybe it doesn't. But the very fact that they've brought him on board to start putting this together, I mean, it kind of seems like they're moving. I don't think they're just doing this for kicks. I think they have intentions of doing this if it can come together and be something, that's kind of special. Rob, I remember we talked about a year ago when there was first kind of whispers about maybe them doing a Nova, and we discussed and debated the merits of maybe doing Nova or not. It's a different MCU landscape right now. So being that it's a different landscape right now, how do you feel about them making Nova at all? The fact that they look like they're going with a movie instead of a series. Do you think this is a character that can work in a Marvel Cinematic Universe? What do you think about this?
Dude, there's a Nova storyline, and I don't think they said this, but I have the hardcovers. Nova, there's Annihilation, and there's Nova Conquest, where Richard Rider takes on Annihilus. He destroys.
By the way, Richard Rider is the AKA for Nova, just for people who don't know.
Oh, yeah. And it's an awesome, it's an epic cosmic storyline. And I would love to see that because, they talked about how James Gunn was supposed to be in charge of the cosmic area of the MCU when he first started doing Guardians. And we saw Xandar, in the first Guardians, and we saw the Nova Corps. So they've already sort of been established a little bit, but Thanos, I guess, destroyed Xandar we kind of, that happened off screen,
camera.
But
yeah,
it would be really cool to do this Annihilus storyline because one, you can bring in Annihilus as a great Marvel villain, and Richard Rider, the Nova, can be introduced as being a great hero leading the charge against Annihilus, and you can do a kick-ass galactic war storyline in the MCU. And if they want, I could see them bringing in like the Shi'ar Empire, which is X-Men adjacent, which could be interesting, like Lilandra and things like that. So color me stoked, bruh. I'm all in. So, and again, I don't know if they're going that direction, but they've tended to avail themselves of storylines of the last, 20 years, 25 years, and Annihilation and Conquest are great. So bring it on.
How do you feel about Waldron being that guy? Because there's a bit of a mixed bag. Chad Powers, I tried getting into it because I love the original sketch that the Manning brothers produced. It didn't really work for me so much, but that's fine. I like the Loki series. I like Doctor Strange, The Multiverse of Madness, but I didn't think it was anywhere near as good as the first Doctor Strange movie. So I think there's some positives, some negative. How are you feeling about Waldron being the guy to do it? Do you think this is the right choice?
That's a good question. I don't necessarily think. I think the Loki series, both seasons, were kind of a mixed bag. And, I'm not a big fan of the TVA. I think the TVA, as much as the multiverse, actually, they kind of go hand in hand, really derailed the MCU. I think it was a mistake to bring the TVA in the first place. That said, You know, he's obviously diverse in terms of the kind of stories he handles, but I would much prefer that we see a more serious side of him.
Sorry,
I mean,
doesn't Waldron look a little bit like Henry Cavill's unemployed older brother?
yeah, I was going to say he looks a little goofy.
He looks like
He
his
looks a little
unemployed older
goofy.
brother.
That's Frank
But-
Cavill.
That's
Yeah.
Frank Cavill.
I mean, I'll just take a wait and see approach.
Yeah. All right.
I like the idea of doing Nova and Richard Rider. I don't know if he's the guy to do it, but we'll see.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? It looks like Marvel has an eye to doing a Nova movie. Do you like the idea of them bringing this character to the screen? Do you like who they have developing it? Whatever you guys think about this, jump down in the comments, laughing at Frank Cavill. Jump down in the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. By the way, just before anybody says anything, saying Waldron looks like Henry Cavill's unemployed older brother, take that as a compliment. I would love to look anything like Henry Cavill, so that did not mean that as a blast. Anyway, with that down, guys, let's move on and talk about this, shall we? Well, whispers of this started coming out yesterday, but there's a word on the street right now about a significant casting in the upcoming X-Men. And we have to let you know that, just to prep you in advance, this is one that we firmly have to put under the category of the rumor mill, right? Just be very, very clear. This one goes under the rumor mill. Got it? Okay, great. Word has started going around that, if you believe the online whispers, again, this is not coming from any of the big official outlets, but that it looks like perhaps Adam Driver, a phenomenal actor, by the way. By the way, if any of you guys have not seen, what's the one he did with Scarlett Johansson? Is it Marriage? Is that the name of it? I think that's the one he did with Scarlett. Oh my God. If you want to see an acting class, watch
Marriage
that.
Story, I think.
Marriage Story. You're right. Marriage Story is it. Complete actor's class. Like, it's so good and the performances are so great in it. Anyway, word going around in the whispers is that Adam Driver has been picked to play the new Magneto. Now, sometimes there are a lot of rumors that get brought up that I'll never address on the show, and sometimes there are some I will address. And we always ask the same two questions when reports like these come out. Question number one, do we believe it's legitimate? And then the second question is always, just for fun, let's assume it is. How would we feel about it? All right. Under the headline of, do we think it's legitimate? I will let you know, I won't tell you who it is. Like, if they want to say it, I'll let them say it. But there's another online guy who about, I say a week or two ago, was texting me and we were chatting back and forth and saying, by the way, I've been hearing some whispers that Adam Driver may be Magneto. And I'm like, huh, I love Adam Driver, but I'm not sure if that makes sense. He goes, yeah, I just wanted to see if you heard the same thing. I said, I haven't heard the same thing yet. Well, then lo and behold, about a week later, some whispers start going around online that maybe Adam Driver selected to play that. The things that work in the favor of perhaps Adam Driver being the guy is the fact that, number one, I've heard these whispers, right? There are other online guys who've heard this too. Who've heard it long before I have. And they're the ones who kind of put me on it. That doesn't mean it's true at all. That doesn't necessarily mean it's true, but I thought it should be mentioned that there are some other online guys that have kind of heard this whisper a couple of weeks ago. The second thing that works in its favor is that Adam Driver is just straight up a phenomenal actor. He is a phenomenal actor. The third thing that kind of goes to this, and I don't know, maybe one of you guys can look up Adam Driver's age.
42.
I was going to say, I think he's in his early 40s.
Yep.
it's not a bad age range to start with Magneto.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have to fiddle with timelines a little bit. You're going to have to fiddle with how much age gap there might be between, these, like how young are these ex-students going to be? And I know you guys know that Magneto is my all-time favorite comic book character. Like, not favorite character in movie. He's my all-time favorite comic book character, period. And traditionally, we've got Magneto with the long white hair and, well, sometimes it's short, but I like him when he's got the long white hair. I like his hair in Age of Apocalypse. Let's just go with that. So you're going to take some liberties there. But if you're saying you're separating the age between the students and say like Magneto and Charles by like 20 years, that can work. Remember, this isn't X-Men. It's a new version of the X-Men, right? It's important to keep that in mind. So in terms of, do I believe this report? I'm going to actually do a push on this and say it's a coin toss. Now, guys, I also don't think it's a coincidence that this is coming out the week before Comic-Con, right? Like, we are now just like days away from Comic-Con, and I'm sure some announcements being made and things like that. As you get closer to these sort of things start to leak out and crack out. So I'm going to say at very minimum, I'm going to give this a coin toss that it would be Adam Driver. Now, just for fun, let's assume for a moment, just for the sake of the conversation for fun, let's assume for a minute that it's true. And Adam Driver is going to be Magneto, my all-time favorite comic book character. Guys, the only question I ever ask is the actor you're putting in a phenomenal actor? Adam Driver, to me, is a phenomenal actor. If they had asked me to give my top 5 wish list, would Adam Driver have popped into my head? Honestly, probably not. But it's one of those names still where I go, this dude's an awesome actor. I think he could bring, I hate using this word, but I think it's appropriate here. I think he would bring a gravitas to the role. And then I think it really opens up who you could have him playing against as a Charles Xavier. I just think there's a lot of potential upside. So I think it's a coin toss as to whether it's true or not. But if it is true, guys, I got to tell you, if we find out tomorrow that it's absolutely true, and Adam Driver puts out a social media post saying, I'm thrilled to be playing Eric, and, or I'm playing around with magnetism or something like that, whatever, I'm not going to be upset by it. I mean, again, one of the first 5 names that come to my head, probably not, but I will not be upset if they get an actor of the caliber of Adam Driver to play him. Anyway, Rob, you've heard this whisper, this rumor. It's been around for a little bit, actually, but now it's kind of coming more to the surface. Number 1, what do you think is the validity of this rumor? Number 2, assuming it's valid just for the fun of the conversation, how would you feel about it?
Well, I mean, I think there is a possibility I could see him being cast. I really don't have a sense. The only thing that we really know of where their X-Men approach is going to go is if Sadie Sink is indeed Jean Grey, and we're going to see that, which is interesting. I'm fascinated about how they're going to make this transition from the Fox X-Men to a new X team, because if Sadie Sink is Jean Grey, and wherever she comes from, if she's not native to the 616 universe, I don't know how they're going to do all that. I'm fascinated by it. But that said, it tells us that if Magneto is an elder statesman of these X-Men, that would make sense if the X-Men are in their 20s and he's kind of in his 40s. That makes sense. So that means Xavier will probably be in his 40s as well. And I think it is probably, I mean, Adam Driver, like you said, is a phenomenal actor. He also is a very interesting looking actor.
Yeah.
And I think, his face could really serve Magneto. There's already fan art with him as Magneto with white hair, and it looks, I mean, I'm not against that. I mean, I kind of prefer a European play Magneto, because I've always thought of him as, there you go, there's fan art right now. I mean, he does look cool, and I think it could be true. I just don't know if it's true. But however, like you pointed out, they might announce the cast of X-Men at Comic-Con. because they've been working on this movie for quite some time. I don't know if they want to do that, because would this new X-Men team be unveiled in Secret Wars? I have no idea, but it's all very interesting. And this isn't out of left field. It's very plausible. So like you said, I'll go 50-50 in on it, but if it's true, wouldn't bother me a bit. I think it shows that they're shooting high, and they're probably going to do, I mean, I could see them getting Adam Driver and maybe a known actor for Xavier, but then they're going to populate the X-Men themselves with up and coming young actors, which I think is great. I can't wait to see that. I hope that's the way they go.
Somebody mentioned this in the live chat, and I realized it's like, okay, Adam Driver as Nathaniel Essex, Mr. Sinister. I could totally see that.
Well, that would be just dope.
That would be.
I mean, yeah,
excellent casting. I think,
and that's why it's been mistaken as Magneto.
Oh, maybe
because I would love to look. I don't care. I love Mr. Sinister. I've always loved Mr. Sinister. He's my favorite X-Men villain. I mean, obviously, I would call him a newer Pantheon villain. And I know he kind of looks with all this plumage goofy, but Adam Driver in a really beautifully designed Mr. Sinister costume, bring that on. I actually think that's more likely than Magneto, to be honest.
I mean, it fits. And let's not forget, too, guys, like, don't forget about this, that Adam Driver was in the running to be Reed Richards. There was actually a period of time when everybody thought that was a foregone conclusion, but he did have discussions about playing Reed Richards. Mm-hmm. So it would make sense that Marvel was like, okay, well, maybe not Reed. Well, what about Magneto, or what about Mr. Sinister, or what about whoever else? Some people in live chat were also saying Lee Pace as a Magneto. Tell you what, I'll tell you the reason I like that one. Lee Pace has the voice to do Magneto. Like, he's totally got the voice to do Magneto.
But there again, I could see Lee Pace as Mr. Sinister. They were like interchangeable.
Yeah. Granted, that's actually a very good point. I could also see him as Mr. Sinister. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? The whispers going around, and actually they've been around for a little while longer, but I just never really gave them any credence. But the whispers right now are that coming up at Comic-Con, we could hear an announcement that Adam Driver is going to be Magneto. Again, it's not one of the 5 names I would have pulled out of a hat, but I kind of dig it because he's such a good actor. But I don't know, whatever you guys think about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, it's time for us to move on now and start taking your live comments and questions. But before we do that, we've got to bid good afternoon to a couple of fellows here, including Robert Meyer Burnett. Great job as always, my friend. We'll talk to you later.
Yes, you will. I'll see you tomorrow.
And of course, all the way in Burbank, Mr. Jonathan Voico. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
See you guys later.
And guys, the one other thing that we have to do before we get on with your live questions is thank another sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show, our friends at BetterHelp. Guys, we want to take a second and thank a sponsor of today's video, BetterHelp. Look, guys, we talk about mental health a lot around here and a lot more openly these days, but actually raising your hand and asking for help, it can still feel incredibly hard. I mean, we wouldn't hesitate to tell a friend it's good to talk to somebody, but society still makes us think twice when it's our turn. BetterHelp is working to bridge that gap. They are the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 6 million people globally with a network of over 30,000 fully licensed, high-quality therapists who work under a strict code of conduct. And the bottom line is that the data shows it works, holding an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for a live session based on over 1.7 million client reviews. BetterHelp handles the initial matching work for you through a short questionnaire tailored to your needs and preferences. Plus, their industry-leading match fulfillment rate means they usually get it right the first time, but if you ever want to switch, you can do so at any time. Don't let stigma stand in the way of support. Start therapy with BetterHelp. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/Campea. That's betterhelp.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at BetterHelp for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys, it's time for us to go over and start taking your live questions that you guys have been sending in. Just so you know, I have turned off the super chats now. So if you're trying to send in a super chat now, that's why you're not able to. We've got a lot of them in there already. So let's get over to them, shall we? And we are going to start off with Amin, who writes, having only watched the trailers, who do you think is more likely to win the Oscar? Matt Damon for The Odyssey, Timothée Chalamet for Dune 3, or Tom Cruise for Digger? Okay, purely guessing, because like you said, all we've seen is the trailers. I would put it in this order. I think the most likely is Tom Cruise, then Timothée Chalamet for Dune 3, and then Matt Damon for The Odyssey. I think all of them have a very good shot to be nominated. Again, we're talking having not seen the films yet. I could totally change my list after I see them, seeing The Odyssey tomorrow. But yeah, I'm going to go in order. Tom Cruise first, Timothée Chalamet second, Matt Damon third. That would be my way too early guess. That would be my guess. All right. Let's see here. Next up, we got Kenneth Smith the second, who writes Giovanni Campea. For those of you who don't know, that is my real name, is actually Giovanni. Anyway, I've listened and watched your show for years. This is the first time I've ever watched live. Oh, nice to offer a live comment. But thank you for the gift that is Ted Lasso. Oh my God, it's perfect. Man, I'll tell you what. One of the reasons I fell in love with Ted Lasso, and some of you have heard me say this before. When I watched the first episode, Ann and I were actually on a weekend away. We decided just to take a weekend away, and we're in the hotel, and we're like getting ready for bed, and we're like, oh, let's watch something. That new Ted Lasso show just started, and we watched the first episode, and I thought it was okay. Like, I thought the first episode of Ted Lasso was okay. But I'm glad Ann talked me into sticking with it because I just fell in love with the show. The main thing for me that I loved about the show, and I don't think all movies or TV shows should be like this, but it's nice having them once in a while. There's no big villain in the show. I mean, yes, Nate becomes a little dick for a while. And yes, there's the girl's ex-husband who's a dick who pops up here and there. Yeah, but really speaking, there's no villain in the show. It's really primarily just a show about good but flawed people trying to do good things. And there's something beautiful about that. And I really enjoy it and I love it. So yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it too, man. Thanks for sharing that. All right. Let's see. Next up, we've got Cam Prods, who writes, do different Oscars carry different amounts of weight? Like, would a Best Actor Oscar be more significant than a supporting one? My friend's circle was arguing about this, and to me, an Oscar is an Oscar. You know what? That's a very good question. I tend to agree with you that an Oscar is an Oscar. I mean, look, what are the more glamorous ones? Best Picture, Best Director, Best Act. I mean, those are the more glamorous ones, yes. But an Oscar is saying that according to your peers who do this all in the industry, you were the best at what you did that year. And that's true about whether it's hairstyling or costume design or visual effects or screenwriting or lead acting, supporting acting, whatever. It is the body of your peers who make movies for a living all coming together and saying, you were the best to do that in film this year. Because like the woman who wins best costume design, is that any less valuable to her than, I mean, I don't know, than an actor walking up on stage and accepting one for what they do? The costume designer won it for what she does. The actress won it for what she does. Now, some are a little bit more glamorous for the movie as a whole. Like if we've got two movies, movie A and movie B, and movie B won, I don't know, best hair and makeup, and it won for best visual effects, but movie A won best director, best lead actor, and best supporting actor and best screenplay. Yeah, the one gets more glitzy, but for the individuals, I'm gonna agree with you. I think an Oscar's an Oscar because it's for your discipline, and it's the industry saying you were the best at what you did this year. I'm going to agree with you. Maybe I give a different answer tomorrow, but for now I'm going to agree with you. All right. Rich Reviews writes, when the history of man is written, which TV network will be remembered better, UPN or the WB? I think both of them have already been forgotten. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I might be. But did the WB not morph into the CW? Like, is that not what happened? Did the WB, I think, turn into CW? Did they not? I could be mistaken about that, but okay, now Cord Cutter Cam is saying, yes, it did. Yeah, oh God. I'm going to say, oh, that's right. UPN merged to make the CW. That's exactly what happened. It's kind of like they both leaned over and touched fingers and became the CW. I can't remember off the top of my head which shows were on UPN, but I do remember a couple on the WB. So for no valid reason, I'm going to say the WB. For no valid reason. All right. Next up, we also got Rich Reviews who writes, was there ever an actor/actress that you thought was on the verge of breaking out, but through a variety of reasons never did? Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I've got a couple. And I love, it's been something. Guys, who is the guy who played Angel in the X-Men, in the earlier X-Men movies? And then he was in 3:10 to Yuma, and he was in 30 Days of Night, and he was in The Mechanic. Ben Foster. Thank you. Cord Cutter Cam was the first one to put that in there. Ben Foster. Oh, and he was, oh my God, how good was he in the one with Chris Pine? The kind of a Western. Oh God, you guys know the one I'm talking about with Jeff Bridges and him and Chris Pine played brothers. It's I think a Taylor Sheridan movie. Oh, that's it. Hell or High Water. Oh my God, how good is he in Hell or High Water? I thought years ago, this is the movie that did it for me. Ben Foster was in 3:10 to Yuma with arguably the two hottest actors in the world at the time, Russell Crowe and Christian Bale. And all the posters are Russell Crowe, Christian Bale. Ben Foster stole that movie. He stole every scene he was in. And I can't remember, that was 15 years ago. I can't remember how long ago that was. But I remember watching it, I'm like, this guy, he's going to be one of the next big ones. And he never did. Like, he's got a very good, respectable career. Of course he does. But he should be absolute A-list. Ben Foster should be an absolute A-lister. In the world of mutants, he is Omega level. Like, he's such a good actor. The other one that I mean, there have been a lot, but the other one that really comes to mind is Justin Long. The I'm a Mac, I'm a PC guy. From Galaxy Quest and from Jeepers Creepers and from, we were just talking about Dodgeball earlier. He was in Dodgeball. Anyway, I swear to God, I think Justin Long is one of the most brilliantly talented comedic timing actors in the business. I think he is dreadfully underappreciated and dreadfully undervalued. I think if I was a big major Hollywood producer, I would put Justin Long in every other movie I do. Every other film, I would put him in. So yeah, there are many more, but those are two that really come to mind for me are Ben Foster and Justin Long. I think both of them should be absolute top-notch A-list. I really do. I think so. Anyway, Noah Kahn writes, sends in a $20 super chat. Thank you, Noah, for supporting us on that level, man. Appreciate that, dude. And he writes, I am very excited for Doomsday, but the reports about editing troubles are concerning me. There are no reports about editing troubles. If they are true, do you think it suggests Marvel has not learned its lesson from post-Endgame era that fixing in post doesn't work? Okay, so first of all, that report, this is what drives me crazy about this business sometimes. That came from me. And then I instantly refuted it. So, okay, look. So what happened was, and I can't believe how often this happens. So I had heard from one person and one person only that they were having some problems with Doomsday in the edit. The phrase was they're not finding it in the edit. Like that it's just not coming together. Right? Now I only heard that from one guy. So I decided I need to ask around about it. And so I didn't make a video about it. I didn't make any headlines about it. Just in the middle of a conversation about something else, something about Doomsday came out, and I said, I might have heard that there might be some problems with it. I'll talk more about it tomorrow. So no headlines, no video. I didn't make a social media post about it. I didn't put out an Instagram post. I didn't do anything. It's just in the middle of a conversation on the show, I mentioned, I kind of heard there might be a problem with the edit, but I'll look into it and I'll talk about it more tomorrow. So then I talked to somebody else who just straight up told somebody else who's close to the situation, who just straight up told me, that's not what I heard. So it's a nothing burger. It's a nothing burger. That's why I made no video about it. I made no headlines about it. I made no social media posts. But you know what happened? Other people heard I said something and they ran headlines and they made posts about it and they made videos about it. And this is the part I will never understand. I am fucking nobody. And I don't say that to be, I'm not trying to insult myself or being, what's the word I'm looking for when you put yourself down, like self something. I can't remember what the word is I'm looking for. I'm not, but I'm totally comfortable. I totally love who I am and I'm totally comfortable with who I am. But I am a nobody who's doing a casual shoot, self-depreciating. Thank you. Thank you, guys. That was the phrase I was looking for. I'm not trying to be that, but I'm a guy sitting in a fucking converted garage. And in a show where I was having a conversation with somebody and I kind of mentioned something like, I might have heard something, but that's all it was. And then I followed up immediately. Again, no headlines, no videos, no clickbait, nothing. And I said, hey, just to clarify, I did talk to somebody else and they said they hadn't heard anything. So this is a big nothing. And yet I do not know why people take things I say, especially when they're completely non-committal, and like run stories about it as if I'm some big important Hollywood insider. I'm nobody. And I wasn't even irresponsible about it. I didn't make a video about it. I didn't make a headline about it. I didn't make a social media post about it. It was a quick comment in the middle of a conversation about something else, and it kind of came up, and I said I'll follow up with it, and when I followed up with it, turns out it was probably nothing. It's probably nothing. Now, is that to say that everything is going great in the edit of Doomsday? Well, I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But those reports you saw are all bullshit. I know because they scraped it from a comment I made that I later clearly clarified. So anyway, there's that. Anyway. All right. Let's up. Hold on a second. Sorry, what's up next? Next up, we have, I think it's Alan S. Yes, Alan S. writes, hey, John, assuming you're right that Gunn leaves, who would you think would be a good replacement for him? And what would you think that person would do? Well, honestly, I'm going to say the thing about everything else. It should be somebody we've never heard of. The person they should get to, if James Gunn does decide, I have no insider information. James Gunn has not told me he's going to leave, but I believe he's going to leave. That's it. I'm just guessing. I'm just looking at the tea leaves. I'm looking at all the information in front of us. I believe James Gunn is going to split Warner Brothers once his contract expires in 2027. After, probably Man of Steel comes out. But I don't know that for a fact. That's just me guessing. If he does leave, the person they get to replace him should probably be somebody we've never heard of. It should probably just be somebody with experience running a corporation, somebody running a business, somebody running a studio. And then not be involved in writing the movies, not be involved in directing the movies, just run the studio. And let directors and other writers do the rest, and you just shepherd the whole thing. That's what I think. There's no name out there. No, it should not be Matt Reeves. No, it should not be some big pop. It should be somebody you and I have probably never heard of, because they only work at running companies, and they're good at running companies, and they're good at appointing lieutenants, and they're good at delegating responsibilities and just staying in their office and overseeing everything. That's who it should be. That's who I think it should be. And by the way, that is not a knock at all on James Gunn being the current guy, because he's working with Peter Safran. I just think James, who I adore and I'm a huge fan of and I cheer for, and I love James Gunn. But my one criticism is he's not in the office enough. He's out making movies too often when he should be shepherding the whole thing rather than making individual projects. But it is what it is. We'll see what happens. All right. Next up. Peace Nick writes 2 things. 1, if the casting rumors are true about Adam Driver playing Magneto, how do you think they'll solve the Magneto problem? I don't know what you mean by that. 2, I really didn't like you and others dismissing Sam Wilson. I don't give a shit whether you don't like that. I don't like him as Cap. This is how many shits I give that you don't like, that I don't like Sam Wilson as Cap. I don't give a shit whether you like it or not. I totally respect if you have a different opinion, but it's not going to lose me any sleep that you don't like that I didn't. I don't give a crap if you like it or not. It's good if you agree. It's good if you disagree, but too bad. I said long before they ever made Sam Wilson Captain America, it's like, I don't care what they did in the comics with Bucky, and I don't care what they did in the comics with Sam. To me, Steve Rogers is Captain America, period. Not Bucky Barnes, not Sam Wilson. Bucky Barnes can be Winter Soldier. Sam Wilson can be Falcon. Steve Rogers is Captain America, is Steve Rogers, is Captain America, is Steve Rogers, is Captain America, period. Yeah, you can give somebody a nickname if you want, but that doesn't make them them. You can call somebody else the Great One, but I'm sorry, there's only one Wayne Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky is the Great One, is Wayne Gretzky is the Great One. So if you disagree about that, that's cool. That's great. We're here to disagree with each other. That's a great thing. If you don't like that I have a different opinion than you on that, tough shit. It's great for us to disagree and have different points of view, and we learn from each other. But if you don't like that I don't agree with you, too bad. So that's just kind of my thought on that. Anyway, Alex Von Gollum writes, hey, Gio, in a recent Odyssey TV spot, Anne Hathaway passionately shouts, I want Odysseus. Somehow the marketing still manages to hype me even more. I'm so overly excited to see the movie. Yeah, listen, I watched, obviously you guys remember a few weeks ago, all the major outlets, Variety, Hollywood Reporter, Deadline, all the major player, IndieWire, whatever, put out their thoughts on the Odyssey, and it's through the roof. Now, yesterday, a bunch of smaller outlets got to see the movie and do their out of the theater reactions. I watched about 20 of them. I'd say 19 of them were absolutely glowing. One wasn't, which is fair. No movie is for everybody. Now, I still don't know what I'm going to think about it. I don't know if I'm going to go into it and love it like I did Oppenheimer, or I don't know if I'm going to go into it and come out kind of bewildered like I did with Tenet. So I don't know which Christopher Nolan movie I'm going to get, but it is hard to not get sort of hyped with with every legitimate guy out there kind of praising this movie to the high moon. So hopefully I have more of an Oppenheimer experience than I do of a Tenet experience. So we'll see. I'll find out later. All right. Next up, we've got, where are we at? Why can't I move? There it is. Art House Cinema writes, what film have you seen the most in the cinema? I've seen Supergirl 6 times and have 2 more showings of the double feature with The Odyssey on Friday. In recent years, I think it's still the one that I saw most in theater in recent years is probably the first Thor movie. Yeah, Ann and I just kept going back to watch. I think we saw that 7 times. I think we saw Thor in theater 7 times. Now, before that, the record for me is the Phantom Menace, which I think I saw in theater 14, 15, 16, 17 times. Because at the time when that movie came out, not only was it a new Star Wars movie, so I was going to see it incessantly, but I was working at a visual effects company. And it is the most revolutionary visual effects movie of all time. So we kept going, like we'd be like working in the office and going, staff meeting? Yeah, staff meeting. And what staff meeting meant was, let's run over to the theater this afternoon, grab a hot dog at Costco, then run across the street to the movie theater and watch The Phantom Menace again. So it was that. But yeah, I think I saw Thor 7 times in theater, and I think that's still my record. But modern. I think that's still my modern record, I believe. All right. Let's see. Next up, Brian Whitburn writes, John, if the injunction happens and there is no settlement, what is the penalty for Paramount to walk away from the merger? Ooh, I know there is. That's a great question. I know there is one in the contract. There is some kind of stipulation that if they don't close the deal, Paramount does have to pay a big hefty lump sum to Warner Brothers if the deal never closes for whatever reason. It doesn't matter if it's Paramount's fault or if it's the lawsuit that does it. If for whatever reason Paramount does not close the deal with Warner Brothers, there is some kind of big breakup check that they have to cut, much like the one they had to cut to give to Netflix for breaking up the Netflix Warner Brothers deal. They'll have to pay another one of those. Because remember, they had to pay Netflix like $2-something billion to walk away from the Warner Brothers deal. They would have to cut something similar to that, but I can't remember the number off the top of my head. So maybe if you guys know what it is, let us know. All right. Let's see. Next. Next up, we've got Jeff, who writes, saw an out of theater early reaction for Odyssey from 2 people, and they were wildly unimpressed and bummed. When do you see it? I know the one you're talking about, and that was the only one. Like I said, I saw about 20 of them. Every single one of them was absolutely glowing, except for the one. And again, nothing delegitimizing about that. No movie is for everybody at all. I don't like Blade Runner. There it is. So, I mean, nothing wrong with that, but yeah, that there was only, I know the one you're talking about, and that was the only one that I saw. I literally saw, but like, that's why I said earlier, I saw about 20 of them. There was one that didn't like it, but so I know exactly the one you're talking about. I see it on Thursday at 2:00. I keep saying tomorrow because I keep feeling like today's Wednesday. I see it on Thursday at 2:00 is when I go see it. All right. Let's see. Next up, we've got Brian Foco writes, I've started listening to your show and it has become a highlight of my day. Thank you so much. Keep doing great work. Endgame was released April 19th. No Way Home was released in December of 2021. And in between you had, where are we at? Far From Home, $1.1 billion box office. Black Widow, $380 million box office. Shang-Chi, $432 million box office. Eternals, $402 million. Does that change your thoughts for whether Brand New Day can outgross Doomsday? No. I mean, look, Brand New Day can outgross Doomsday. Now, you also got to remember with Black Widow was also a day and date release on Disney Plus, which caused a lawsuit between Scarlett Johansson and Disney. Shang-Chi was also still in the aftermath of the pandemic releases and all that kind of stuff. And Eternals was just their first flop. It just No other reason. Eternals was just their first flop. Even though Rob and I really like the Eternals, it was just their legitimate straight up first flop. Black Widow and Shang-Chi, you got to put giant asterisks beside those numbers. Regardless, I've always felt that Brand New Day, I mean, as in, is it possible it outgrosses Doomsday? It's possible. I just think highly unlikely. Like highly, highly, highly unlikely. And for the reasons I mentioned, Marvel's reputation is not as good as it was when Spider-Man No Way Home came out. It's getting better again. It's recovering, but it's not where it was. It's not coming off of the insane hype of Endgame. And it doesn't have that novelty of Toby and Andrew. All those things put together tells me, guessing, pure guess, that Spider-Man Brand New Day is going to be huge. Huge. But $2 billion huge? I don't think so. No. I think it's going to be massive and big, but I don't see it making $2 billion. Now, maybe I change my mind after I see it on day one, but for now, that's kind of what I think. So we'll see if it actually plays out that way. Let's see. Next up, we've got Gavin, who writes, I never expected the Doomsday trailer till later in the year, but what was the point of the 4 teaser trailers? Would it not have been better to use them to build up to the full trailer? Well, let's look at what happened. They put out those 4 little mini clips and the whole world stopped. And for 4 weeks, the whole world just talked about them. What was the point? That was the point. I think their purpose, now you know me, right? I'm the type of guy that I believe that generally speaking, studios start their marketing campaigns way too early. Generally speaking, I just think in general, they start their marketing campaigns way earlier than necessary. That being said, we haven't had an Avengers movie since 2019. And they were really, I think, really treating those little character spots, you know, the Captain one, the Thor one, the Fantastic Four, one with the Wakandans, and the X-Men one. What I think they just used those for was to put it on everybody's radar. Because yeah, people like me who make shows like this and people like you who watch shows like this, we're totally knowing what's coming. But I think for the general movie-going audience, there hadn't been an Avengers movie since 2019. And I think they really just put those 4 little character spots out there to just kind of make an announcement. Hey guys, just so you know, this movie's coming. It's got all your favorite MCU characters, and we're even bringing the X-Men back, right? It was really just an announcement. And what was the impact? Everybody talked about it months straight. Months straight. Everybody talked about it. You don't need to build up to an Avengers trailer. Like, let's just get that out of the way right now. There is no need to build up to an Avengers trailer. You just drop the Avengers trailer and watch the internet crack, right? Because that's what's going to happen. So yeah, I think the point of that was the point of those 4 things was just to get the word out there. This is coming and get everybody talking about it instantly. And it worked. And you certainly don't need it to build up to a trailer, I don't think. All right, let's see. Next up. Will Lambert writes, what's your opinion on people using their phones during the trailers before a movie? Perfectly fine. Trailers are commercials. I paid money to be there to see a movie, right? You want to play trailers? And I like a lot of trailers, but I'm sorry. I think it's totally acceptable if the movie itself has not started yet. I think it's perfectly fine for people. Now, I don't think you should be on, yeah, mom, I'll pick up some pizza on the way home. But people who have their phones out and just looking at some stuff or typing some things in before the movie starts. Yeah, I personally think it's perfectly acceptable. It's just a commercial they're playing. So I have no problem with it. I don't do it myself just because I'm just trying to get comfortable. I'm already starting to munch on my popcorn. Cool. But I have no problems with other people being on their phones, as long as they're not talking loudly, but like just having their phones out and using their phones. I have no problem with that if it's just the trailers before. As long as they put those things away when the movie starts, we're good. I've got no problem with them. All right. Let's see. What are we at? Nom writes, I feel like last couple phases make Doomsday feel like a standalone film instead of a culmination. That's true. Is a longer movie the only way to tell the story? No. Well, first of all, I completely agree with you. Like, what makes Doomsday unique, I think, from the previous Avengers films is that the previous Avengers films have felt like, exactly as you said, a culmination of all these things that have happened, especially Endgame, which was the culmination of the entire Infinity Saga. This Doomsday does not feel like that. And that's perfectly fine. Look, at the end of the day, all that matters is the movie good? You could have done 5 years of buildup to Doomsday. If the movie's not good, none of it matters. But if the movie's great, then nothing else matters. The movie's great. So this one really feels more like, instead of the culmination, it feels like the beginning of a new thing, which of course we kind of know it is, because it's going to go from Doomsday into Secret Wars, which is kind of going to launch the new era of the MCU. So I think that's a very good point. But why does that mean it needs to be longer? Star Wars was 2 hours long. We didn't need a Luke Skywalker standalone film first, and an Obi-Wan standalone movie first, and an R2 and 3PO standalone show first, and a Han Solo standalone movie first, and a Rise of the Empire standalone movie first, that all built up to Star Wars. No, George Lucas just made Star Wars. And it was great. And it was awesome. And it's the most iconic film of all time. So, and it was 2 hours long. So no, I don't think it means it needs to be longer. So I completely think you're right on the money with your assessment that this one doesn't feel like a culmination like the other ones did. I think you're bang on about that. But no, in no way do I feel like it needs more time. It doesn't need to be a longer movie to tell the story. If you need it to be 3 hours to tell your story, then you're not a very good storyteller. Again, some movies can benefit from it for sure, but I don't think it's necessary. Anyway, great comment there, Omnom. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. All right. Nexus Fuel wriits, thoughts on the report of Blue Beetle supposedly returning to the Man of Tomorrow. We might be back. First of all, I've not heard that. I would totally base my opinion on the report on where does the report come from. Again, for all I know, you just read it in the Hollywood Reporter. I don't know. If you read that report in the Hollywood Reporter, Variety, Deadline, Vanity Fair, Entertainment Weekly, whatever, then I'd say, well, that's interesting. Because remember, we've always kind of heard James Gunn said that he has plans for Blue Beetle. We just didn't really know exactly what he was going to do with it. If it came out from like Augustus Gas Station Reviews .fart site, I wouldn't worry about too much about it. But again, remember, James Gunn said a long time ago that he's got plans for Blue Beetle, right? It's a good character. So I wouldn't be surprised at all to find out that maybe Man of Tomorrow is where they bring Blue Beetle back in. It would seem to make sense. So again, I'll have to wait to see and read the report myself before I have a real opinion about it. But again, I wouldn't be shocked by it because Gunn has said for a long time that he's got plans for Blue Beetle. Anyway, thanks for writing that in, Nexus. Appreciate it, man. Next up, we've got Bobby Jackson, who writes, with the WGA now suing, and is the WGA suing now? With the WGA now suing and theaters supporting the states, isn't that a big sign that the industry truly believes that this will limit opportunities? Yes, but it does not matter if the industry feels it will limit opportunities. Now remember, I'm saying this as a guy who doesn't want this merger to happen just because I want to see Warner Brothers stay independent. I don't think it's the end of the world if the merger goes through. I would rather it not because I'd rather see them stay independent. Anyway, all that kind of stuff. But as somebody who doesn't want to see it go through, to the courts, it doesn't matter if the industry thinks this will limit opportunity. The only thing the courts are going to care about are, number one, are they violating law? And number two, do the two sides demonstrate that it will limit opportunity? You can't just say, we think it'll limit opportunity, and then, that's it. No. In the legal arguments, they're going to have to demonstrate that a reasonable person would believe it, that it would limit opportunity. Remember, the movie theaters were against Disney buying 20th Century. The WGA was very much against Disney buying 20th Century, but that didn't stop the merger from happening. So, yes, absolutely, the movie theaters, the Actors Union, the Writers Guild, they all believe this will decrease opportunity, and I believe it too. I believe this is going to limit opportunities and limit jobs and all that kind of stuff. I do. But it's not about what does the industry say. It's about what do the lawyers prove to a court, and we'll see what happens there. But I had not heard that the WGA also launched a lawsuit. That's interesting if they did, because now they've got multiple battles they got to fight on different fronts. All right, next up. Landon Botlinger writes, what do you think of the rumors of Patrick Wilson being cast as Charles Xavier? I read that. The reason we didn't bring that one up on the show, first of all, Patrick Wilson's a wonderful actor. I love Patrick Wilson. So if they did that, again, he's not a name I would have guessed, but I'd be fine with it because he's a really good actor. The reason we didn't talk about it on the show is because unlike the Adam Driver one, which I had heard whispered about a few weeks ago from a few other online guys who I don't think ever said it publicly, but they knew before I did. I'll leave it to them if they want to out themselves. But I had not heard anything before about Patrick Wilson being Xavier. None. So I have less trust in that one. Again, doesn't mean it's not true. I'm just saying I didn't have a background to feel like there could be some validity to it like I did with the Adam Driver one, because I had heard some stuff about Adam Driver before. I have not about Patrick Wilson. So look, again, I'm going to say the same thing I did about Adam Driver. I almost said Adam Wilson. Patrick Wilson would not be a name I would come up with. Like if you said, John, come up with 5 people who'd make a good Charles Xavier. Patrick Wilson's not a name I would come up with. But he's such a good actor that if they announce him at Comic-Con that he's Charles Xavier, I'm fine with it. I'm totally good with it. And I'll look forward to seeing what he does. All right. Next up. Tomas writes, can they age up Adam Driver? Oh, they can age up Adam Driver 10 or 15 years with makeup. I mean, sure. But then, okay. Number one, they don't need to, because like Rob was pointing out, you can do this one with a Charles and Magneto in their 40s, which Adam Driver is, because that would give them about 20 years plus separation between their age and these apparently younger X-Men. So that's fine. But if you wanted Adam Driver to be 10 to 15 years older, why would you cast Adam Driver? Like, why not just legitimately get an actor who is legitimately 10 to 15 years older? That will look much better on the screen. It'll play much more naturally on the screen. Yeah, I don't know why. If you wanted him to be 10 to 15 years older than in his 40s, why not just go out and get somebody who's 55 to play the role? I mean, that would be the question. So yes, they could do that. But number one, I don't think they need to, because I think it's perfectly okay if they want Charles and Eric to be in their 40s. But number two, if you do want somebody that old, just go and get an actor that age. I would guess. That would be my guess. Anyway. All right. Last question today. Jerry writes, what about Patrick Wilson as Professor X? Would you like? Okay, so that's the same question as somebody else. Again, not a name I would come up with, not somebody I would pick if asked to do it, but he's a good enough actor that they do announce him. I'm perfectly okay with it. Perfectly okay with it. And all right, guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. big special thank you to the thousands of you guys in the live chat throughout the show and all the fun stuff and helping us with some information along the way. Totally appreciate you guys not just watching our show, but participating in our show and being a part of it and helping us out. Thank you guys so much for that. And of course, a big thank you to all you guys who sent in the super chats. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. All right, guys, we will look forward to seeing y'all again tomorrow. Do we have a special guest on tomorrow? Yes, we do. I can't remember. Oh, yeah, tomorrow. Actually, I'm going to let you guys, for those of you stuck around. So on tomorrow's show, it's going to be me, Jonathan, Rob, but we're also going to be joined once again by Sean Chandler, which I always love having Sean on. Then on Thursday, big treat for you guys. I'm a big fan of this guy, and he and I, through mutual business associates, had a chance to meet over the phone a while ago. I'm a big fan of him. From Screen Crush, Ryan Airy is going to be on our show on Thursday. I'm looking forward to that. Then on Friday, Chris, 3C Films himself, will be back again on the John Campea Show on Friday. We got a great week lined up. Looking forward to it. So thank you guys for being here. Appreciate you all so very much. My name is John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.